Hey, good people, it's Minister Kenita Smith here, and today's pearl is you've been hidden for purpose. Now, listen, I just preached a sermon for the women on the front line for a minister in Ghana, and we were talking about Esther and how Esther in chapter 4, verse 14, how Mordecai was telling her about the plans that Haman had for her people and how God had placed her in the king's palace for such a time as this. And I am here to tell you all and give you all a rhema word, especially those of you who are women that have been hidden in a hidden place. I mean, you've been going through a lot of things in life. It seems like you've just been suffering, although yet you've been trusting God and you've been hanging on to everything that God has revealed for you and every promise, but you have yet to see those things be revealed. I mean, you've been suffering on the job. You've been suffering within your families. You've been suffering within your marriage. You may have even been suffering with your children. And you're sitting here like, God, why are these things happening? Because I am believing you and I'm being obedient and I'm doing the things that you're asking me to do. However, yet these crises are happening in my life. Well, if you think about it in the Word of God, a lot of times when you think about the front line and you think about the armies, there would be men there, but women would show up when there was a crisis in the nation. Deborah showed up when there was a crisis in the nation. Jael showed up and killed the king's enemy when there was a crisis in the nation. And so it's not by happenstance that you are dealing with a crisis before you go into the next level, the promotion, the new season. And so you've been in the king's palace being prepared. And normally when Esther was in the king's palace, when she was chosen and she was getting beautified, and they said she sat in baths that had different fragrances and things to get her prepared to see the king. Well, the king's palace is significant for wealth, for promotion, and for exposure, right? And so God has allowed you to go through these things because he is getting ready to increase your sphere of influence. But in this season, you have to walk in stealth. You can't tell everybody what your next is and all of the visions and things that God is showing you, because your next level you're being prepared for. And he doesn't want you to jump out there too quick, because he doesn't want you to suffer unnecessary attacks in this season. So this is why God has been saying, hold on, don't share that yet. Hold on. Don't tell anybody about this yet, because what he has for you is great. And so as you're going to that next level, as you're seeking him, as you've done all this time, your seasons are changing, and it hasn't been fair before, but you're getting ready to understand why life has been lifing and why things have lined up the way that they are. You've had many disappointments. You've gone through many oppression, but you've endured it, and you continue to be faithful to the things that God has for you. So in that, you are going to walk and move in a mighty way. He's going to use you to deliver a generation, and he's going to keep you moving forward in him. So some of you have been hidden in the king's palace, but you have been hidden for purpose, and I want you to be encouraged. So go and read Esther chapter 4 verse 14 when you get a chance. Read the whole chapter. Read on Deborah, read on Jael, and read on how God used women in that season in the Bible, because this is a season where we are rising up. Talk to you soon.